How's it going, my peeps? It is now time for the Raw results / highlights and review. I'll go over the results, some of the highlights in my opinion, and give you guys my thoughts, my review on the show. So it kicks off with Randy Orton coming out, and he cuts a promo on the Elimination Chamber, him being in the chamber and having to defend the championship. Once again complaining about him not being protected enough, and how it's unfair for him to defend the championship inside the chamber against 5 other men. And then he goes over all the 5 superstars in the match, and he asks the fans, how many times do I have to beat John Cena? How many times do I have to beat Sheamus? And how many times do I have to beat Daniel Bryan? Same applies to Christian and Antonio Cesaro. And at that point I was like, oh, wait a minute. Randy has a point. Randy's been like every single one of these superstars in one-on-one matches before. But anyways, then he kind of brags about him being the main attraction of Raw, and talks about Batista. He says he's going to retain at the Chamber and then beat Batista at WrestleMania. And he says while they were in Evolution, they were equals, but now Randy's better. Anyways, the Authority eventually interrupts, so you've got Triple H and Stephanie McMahon coming out to the stage. And Stephanie tells Randy to stop overthinking things. And she basically announces that over the next few weeks, Randy's going to be facing off against every single one of his chamber match opponents. And starting with tonight, it's going to be Randy Orton versus, and then she says, she can't believe she's saying this, but if this person were to beat Randy tonight, they may have to reconsider or they may have to consider him maybe as the new face of the company. And then she announces that it's going to be Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan. The crowd's chanting yes, and also Triple H starts doing the yes taunt. So that was it for that segment. Afterwards, it was the first match of the show, The Shield versus Langston, Kofi Kingston, and Rey Mysterio. And it was another good Shield match. In the end, Langston was the legal man. I believe he hit a clothesline on Dean Ambrose. And then right after hitting the clothesline, that's when I think Roman Reigns hit him with a Superman punch. And then Reigns went in the corner to prepare for the spear, but Dean Ambrose gets back up, gets on the apron, tags himself in, and then he hits his finisher on Langston, covers him, and kind of steals the victory from Reigns. But yeah, the Shield win the match up. After the match, Roman Reigns kind of, looks at Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins comes in and like separates them before any argument starts. And after the match, the Wyatt family is on the Titantron, cutting a promo once again. And once again, Luke Harper talks. And so does Eric Rowan. But once again, the only thing Eric Rowan says is run at the end. Afterwards, we get Bad News Barrett. He delivers some bad news, talked about the Super Bowl and how people were watching it and just stuffing their faces with junk food. And then he says, because of that, most of you won't survive till next year. Or till next year's Super Bowl. And then Jerry the King Lawler actually interrupts him and says, I've got some bad news for you. Hopefully you won't make it to next week. And I was like, okay. He just interrupted him just to say that. I was expecting something big, or maybe him to announce that Barrett is returning, or that he got word that Barrett is going to be in action next week, or that Jerry the King Lawler is challenging him to a match or something. I don't know. But, yeah. Afterwards, you had Christian coming back. Well, he came back on SmackDown, but yeah, his return on Raw now, and it was in a rematch against Jack Swagger. And right when I saw Jack Swagger was his opponent, I was like, all right, I can see where this is going here. Or I can see what's gonna happen. And I was right. Christian wins the matchup. And Jack Swagger once again countered the kill switch. I think the kill switch is probably the finisher that's been countered the most. It's probably the finisher that's been countered the most in WWE history. It seems he never connects with it the first time around. It always has to try a bunch of times. But anyways, in the end, Jack Swagger went for the Swagger Bomb, and Christian had already countered the Swagger Bomb before in the matchup by putting his boots up. He also did that on SmackDown. So Jack Swagger goes for, yet again, another Swagger Bomb. And Christian, once again, counters with his boots up. And then he goes on the top turnbuckle, hits his Sunset Flip Powerbomb or Sunset Flip Pin. And covers Jack Swagger, of course. Well, he doesn't need to cover Jack Swagger. The Sunset Flip is a pin. And Jack Swagger loses. Christian wins the match. After the match, Jack Swagger rages. And you see Antonio Cesaro shaking his head. disappointment. And that was it for that. Following that, they show Brock Lesnar attacking Goldust and Cody in their tag team match last week. And pretty much, showing the people why they're having a steel cage tag team championship match tonight. So right after is the actual steel cage match, the New Age Outlaws versus Cody and Goldust. And they announced right before the match started that the only way to win this match was actually by pinfall or submission. They can't escape the cage to win this match. And, when it comes to this match, something I also thought was kind of weird was that they had to tag each other in. I thought both, all the superstars were going to be in the ring at the same time. But no, it's actually kind of like a regular tag team match, but within a cage. And the highlight of this match was Cody going for the moonsault. I actually didn't think about that at all. But then I was like, when I saw everybody was down except for Cody, I was like, wait a minute. Didn't he do a moonsault in a steel cage match, like against the Real Americans, like a month back or so, on a house show, on a live event? So I was like, I'm pretty sure he's going to try and do it here too. So he actually does. He climbs up the steel cage, and he goes for the moonsault. And he went for the moonsault from he didn't climb up the corner of the cage. He climbed up in the middle. And he went for the moonsault onto Road Dogg. The problem is, though, Cody totally missed that moonsault. Road Dogg was not in the proper position. He wasn't, he wasn't in the proper position to take that moonsault. He was kind of to the left, a little bit too much to the left. So when Cody hit the moonsault, pretty much the only thing that hit Road Dogg was Cody's right arm. So that moonsault must have hurt. He hits the moonsault or I guess hits the mat with the moonsault and hits Road Dogg with his arm, or grazes Road Dogg with his arm, I don't know. And then Billy Gunn follows it up with the fameasser on Cody as Cody's slowly getting up, covers him, and the New Age Outlaws win the match. Now I'm not sure if Cody is actually, injured after the matchup, but I'm pretty sure he's hurting from that moonsault. I was actually waiting for the possibility of Goldust maybe turning on Cody after the match, but no, nothing like that happened. Instead, Goldust was checking up on Cody. So hopefully Cody is okay. Anyways, afterwards, it was Titus O'Neil versus Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder was in the ring first, and then I hear this new theme music, and I'm thinking maybe it's Alexander Rusev, but it's actually Titus O'Neil coming out to a new theme song. They show a replay of Titus O'Neil beating up Darren Young on SmackDown. And, Titus O'Neil wins the matchup. Pretty quick match. Zack Ryder got his usual offense in that he usually does. So he actually hit the, I don't know what it's called, the freaking running boots to the face or to the head when they're down on the turnbuckle. Is it called the Ryder boot? I'm not sure. I don't think it is. I don't think it's called that. I'm not sure. You guys know what I'm talking about though, right? Anyways, Titus O'Neil wins the matchup once he hits his finisher on Zack Ryder, which is the sit-out spinebuster. And there was no appearance from Darren Young. Darren Young did not interfere in the matchup or come out after the matchup to attack Titus O'Neil, get some payback. After that, Fandango came out with Summer Rae, and then Santino Marella came out, and they were supposed to have a dance-off. Santino told Fandango, no, you don't want to dance off with me, because I learned 3 new moves, and then he shows them off. And then he says, instead, how about Summer, and he was calling Fandango. And then he says, how about Summer Day? He calls Summer Rae Summer Day. Have a dance-off with somebody from the crowd. So then right there and there, I was like, alright, that's the perfect opportunity for them to bring out Emma, and Emma can, make her debut. So yeah, he does bring out Emma, and, talks about how she trains at NXT. And then they start the dance-off. Summer Rae does a 10-second dance, and then afterwards, Emma goes up, and her NXT music hits, and she does her dance that she does on NXT. And then Santino asks the crowd which one they liked more. They boo Summer Rae, and they cheer Emma. So Emma wins the dance competition. Following that, Sheamus made his way down to the ring for a matchup against Curtis Axel. Ryback came out with Curtis Axel, except he wasn't in the matchup. He was just, there at ringside. But despite him not actually competing in the match, the crowd was still chanting Goldberg. And by the way, something I forgot to mention, at the beginning of the show, the crowd was chanting CM Punk during the Randy Orton promo. But anyways, back to the Sheamus-Axel match. Sheamus wins the match after hitting the bro kick. After the match, Sheamus kind of signals for Ryback to get in the ring, but the big guy doesn't do so. After that, Batista comes down the ring. They were hyping up Batista, talking about who he wants to face at WrestleMania. But before he can say anything, Del Rio interrupts. And he says, before you can say anything or whatever, how about you talk about this? And then he kind of points to both of them saying, this unfinished business. And Batista's like, I don't have a problem with you. And he's talking about how he doesn't know why Del Rio has an issue with him, because he doesn't have an issue with him. If you understand what I'm saying here. But basically, Batista says he doesn't have an issue with Del Rio, and he doesn't understand why Del Rio has an issue with him. And Del Rio goes on to talk about how, while Batista was out making movies, Del Rio was here winning major world championships, and talks about how he's going to hurt Batista, this and that. So Batista once again says, like I said, I don't have a problem with you, but then that's when Del Rio hits a cheap shot, punches him a couple times, and then it looks like he's about to go for the super kick, but then he bounces off the ropes. But since when does Del Rio bounce off the ropes to hit the super kick? Anyways, he bounces off the ropes, and right there I was like, alright, Batista is going to interrupt him with like a spine buster, but instead Batista kicks him in the guts, goes for the Batista bomb, but Del Rio quickly gets out of the ring, and that was it. Batista then, tells him, alright, it's on now, or, you want it, you've got it. And he's raging inside the ring while Del Rio pretends like he's about to go back in the ring, but doesn't. Following that, it was a 6-man tag team match, the Wyatt Family versus Dolph Ziggler, R-Truth, and Xavier Woods. The Wyatt Family end up winning the matchup once Luke Harper hits the discus clothesline on Ziggler, and then he tags in Bray Wyatt, who comes in, hits Sister Abigail, and covers Ziggler for the 1, 2, 3 to win the match. After the match, this time the Shield appears on the Titantron. They cut a promo on Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt Family, telling them that they're not afraid of their games, and that they're in the Shield's yards, and, of course, end the promo by saying to believe in the Shield. Then they put their fists together like they usually do, and Bray Wyatt is in the ring laughing, telling them that he welcomes this war and to bring it. And then after that, it was a Divas match, Oksana versus Naomi, and AJ Lee was on commentary. And during this match, Oksana hit a knee drop on Naomi, and she hit it right in her eye, like right in her eye socket. So from then on, Naomi's just holding her eye like the entire matchup, and it really showed that, she got hurt there, and it really showed during the match that it was hurting her the entire match. She had like this sad face the entire matchup after that knee drop, and she had her eye closed, the eye that got knee dropped, or almost closed, I don't know. And she wins the matchup afterwards by hitting the split-legged moonsault. After the match, Alicia Fox goes to attack Naomi, but you can see Naomi's kind of like wants nothing to do with it, or she's like barely getting through it, and Cameron takes her out, or grabs her from Naomi, and then she Irish whips her towards Naomi. Naomi hits the what's it called? The rear view. Yeah, she hits the rear view on Alicia Fox, and then they show AJ kind of raising her championship, or looking at Naomi, but they show Cameron first. They don't really show like Naomi and AJ. They show Cameron, and then they show Naomi, but you can't really see the other eye. You see it from the side where she didn't get the knee drop. So and didn't John Cena get injured lately on a live event? I think he was facing off against Randy, and Randy poked him in the eye or something like that, and he suffered an eye injury. So now they might have 2 eye injuries, I'm not sure. Anyways, afterwards it was the main event, Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton, and it was another good matchup between the two guys. And in the end of the match, Daniel Bryan delivered like a kick to Randy, or super kick, I'm not sure exactly what it was quick. And then he hit a diving headbutt on Randy, covers him, Randy kicks out at 2. And then you see Kane coming down the ring, he gets on the apron, but Daniel Bryan sees him, so he hits the running knee on Kane, taking him off the apron. And then Randy, I think, charged Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan, I think he pulled down the ropes to take Randy out of the ring. So now both Randy and Kane are on the outside. Daniel Bryan charges or bounces off the other ropes and hits a suicide dive on the outside on both Kane and Randy. He puts Randy back in the ring, and then Kane charges at Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan hits or I guess tips him over or trips Kane onto the steel steps, so Kane falls like face first onto the steel steps. Daniel Bryan gets back in the ring where Randy's kind of playing possum, and Daniel Bryan's kind of looking at Kane on the outside still while he is in the ring. Randy then turns Daniel Bryan around, goes for the RKO. Daniel Bryan pushes him off, and then Randy charges Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan runs towards Randy, but he ducks Randy, and then he comes back running with the running high knee, covers Randy, gets the 1, 2, 3, and Daniel Bryan has just been the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Although a non-title match, but a big victory nonetheless. And after the match, he celebrates for a while, and then you see Randy climbing up or getting on the apron, and then you see also Kane getting on the apron. So Daniel Bryan tries to fight them both off, but it's too much, and they stomp on Daniel Bryan a bunch of times. And Kane then picks Daniel Bryan up, hits a choke slam, and he raises his arms up and then puts them down, you know, for his flames or his pyros. But the pyro goes off like, I don't know, 2-3 seconds late. So it looked a bit off, but anyways, that was pretty much it for the show. It ends with Kane and Randy standing tall over Daniel Bryan. So now I'm wondering where this is all going, with Kane attacking Daniel Bryan there at the end. It's WrestleMania 30 looks to be a pretty confusing card to predict. Because at one point you're thinking, alright, this match is going to take place, but then, you know, this happens, and you're like, oh, but what if, you know, this takes place instead? I'm not sure. Anyways, what did I think of Raw highlights? Highlights, man. Daniel Bryan, the last matchup. Daniel Bryan, especially beating Randy clean, and not only did he beat him clean, but you had Kane interfering in the matchup, but he took out Kane too and still beat Randy. I thought after the interference he would get back in the ring and Randy would deliver the RKO and win the matchup, but no, Daniel Bryan blocks the RKO and hits his finisher on Randy for the 3 count. And what else was there? I think that's pretty much it. As for, well, actually, you know, Cody Rhodes moonsault, but the thing is, it's a cool moment, it's a cool spot, but damn, he missed like most of that moonsault. It seemed like Road Dogg was a bit off on the positioning there. And as far as a rating for tonight's Raw, I mean, for tonight's Raw, I'd probably give it like a 6 on 10. The ending, the last match was a pretty strong ending to the show. We also had, of course, you know, a tag team title match in a steel cage on Raw. That's a big matchup to have, but like the rest of the show just didn't. I don't know. The rest of the show wasn't as good. You know, it wasn't. It was like mostly random matches, and like the major story of the show was the Shields versus the Wyatt Family, and also of course, the Elimination Chamber match. But then again, those are like the 2 only matches announced for Elimination Chamber, so that makes sense. But yeah, as far as a rating, like a 6 on 10, or maybe like a 5.5 to 6 on 10. From 5.5 to 6 on 10, that would be my rating. And that's pretty much all I got to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And of course, also, I've got some good news. I recorded a bunch of online matches, some great online matches, a couple days ago. I think it was like 2 days ago or so. And I'll be posting them up, or I'll start posting them up this week. Probably tomorrow. So, as I was saying, hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, as always, you can click that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it. And with that said, I'm out, guys. See ya.